So good morning, this is the Friday update. We're going to start off with the pound. Talked about it yesterday, how we were in a sell setup, but we had the Bank of England yesterday with their statement, so had to wait to see what they had to say. And I've just got the 60-minute chart with all the short-term levels, and the red line is the most important one, which is the half day. We had a very, very brief spike lower directly into that point, and actually within, I think, 2 minutes it was back above here. So algorithms pushing it the wrong way. The statement was hawkish, and then we've broken out of the top. So that negative signal is no longer valid, and we await to see what happens. On a pullback, 133.29 is important. If it's truly a whole new trend up, then it won't close below that level, certainly not on a daily basis. That news event set off a bit of a chain reaction elsewhere. So when we had some stats come out in America about an hour and a half later, gold briefly spiked down. It is very similar in terms of holding that final major support of 1321.4. The low was just about a buck lower than that, but again reversed very sharply on a 60-minute chart. Sticking with short term, crude. This broke out the day before on a short-term basis, and we've extended higher into 50.50 yesterday. Support is a little bit distant, over $1.50 away. The thing that's a little bit more interesting though is actually the daily chart. And looking at that, on that move higher, we stopped just short of a weekly important barrier at 50.57. I think the high was 50.50, yeah. So that is a big point. If we were to manage to close above here on the day or the week, you can see that it opens up a lot of space. And that's transferred into some of the stocks. Now, oil and gas and all things oil and gas have been the bottom of the sectors for many months now. And regardless of what the oil price has done to a certain extent, there's been times when oil's rallied and oil stocks haven't really got much benefit from them. But what's unloved becomes loved. We have been unloved for a very long time, pretty much all of the year. And some of the stocks are starting to wake up. This one is GEOS, which is in oil and gas drilling. Been going sideways, holding that weekly line for some time, and has broken out over the last couple of days. I've just added the time area studies, which is one of the things that clients look at for base building in stocks. And what we have here is all of the higher time frames, so these like quarterly, semi-annual, annual, have all been flat, and the green, which is the daily, is starting to break out. On this study, again slightly different, but what we're really interested in is the fact that the monthly level managed to step up at the end of July, having been falling for some time, and again we're starting to move up, break out. We have an annual target of 2036, so some way away, and then on the normal daily chart, a major monthly target at 2437. If you want a little bit more background, I did write something a few months ago, so back in June. So if you type in GEOS on Trading Buddy, search there, then you'll find that article. And it just explains some of that base building process. Euro dollar has been a focus all week. We're looking for this weekly level below 119.80. We spiked down again on that number at the same time as gold. Didn't hit the major support at 18.23, but we stopped at the next highest one, which is 360. So we're a little bit trapped in the range, as in the dollar index. Sorry, as is the dollar index. Finally, a quick word on indexes. American market's been a little bit boring this week. 2487 is the reference short term. on the S&P, which is the lows, the tick overnight. It's not a major level. Um, Major levels are all still down at 24.67 to 65. This is the FTSE. There is a correlation between the pound and the FTSE. A lot of FTSE companies earn their money in dollars. So pound up, FTSE down. We've been doing nothing for months, but the monthly line moved to the top at the end of August, so that was a big negative. And obviously with the pound moving strongly, the FTSE is trying to break down. 72.71 is that weekly breakdown point. There's also another short-term level at 72.91, so that's a zone of resistance. It probably, or definitely, will need some help from the pound to continue to rally, and we'll probably need some help from stock markets elsewhere to show some weakness, none of which in terms of stock market weaknesses is happening at the moment. So keeping our eye on it and watching markets elsewhere. Finally, the disconnect on interest rate differentials across the world. This is Gilts, UK 10-year market. Mentioned the signal from last Friday, hit the final weekly resistance, and there was a UFO, and we've just absolutely collapsed. Pretty much took out the whole of the month's game. An acceleration downwards yesterday. We had a very unusual pattern where we hit 3 up on the announcement and then closed way below 3 down. So that's a very, very unusual day. Have a minor support at 24.63 and something a little bit more meaningful at 123.71. What I really want to highlight is the disconnect between that and the US market, which has come down, but as you can see, nowhere near as much as what the UK market has done. We had this support point, 154.28 to 155.01. We did go below it intraday, but we needed a close below it to open up any space, and it's rejected that. So there's a big disconnect there. Okay, have a good weekend, everyone.